Dad left me his worthless gas station. Now my brothers want the $20 million secret inside. The lawyer's office smelled like old leather and regret. I sat there, staring at the will in front of me, my hands trembling as they clutched the edges of the document. Dad had always been a man of few words, but this was something else entirely. He left me his worthless gas station, a crumbling relic on the outskirts of town that hadn't turned a profit in years. Meanwhile, my two older brothers got cash settlements from his modest savings account and shares in his small investment portfolio. They didn't even blink when they heard what I'd inherited. In fact, they laughed. "Good luck with that dump," Marcus said, leaning back in his chair with an air of smug superiority. His tailored suit seemed out of place in this dingy room, just like his condescending smirk. "It's probably going to cost you more to keep it running than it'll ever make," added Ethan, adjusting his glasses as if he were delivering some profound business insight. The way he spoke made it clear he thought I was foolish for not arguing against Dad's decision. But how could I argue? It wasn't about the money, it never had been with Dad. Still, their dismissive attitudes stung more than I cared to admit. I swallowed hard, forcing myself to nod politely while inside, a storm brewed. What did they know about worth anyway? To them, everything boiled down to numbers on a spreadsheet or zeros in a bank account. But to me, that gas station represented something far greater. Memories of summer afternoons spent helping Dad fix broken pumps, late-night conversations over greasy burgers at the attached diner, and countless lessons learned under flickering fluorescent lights. It wasn't worthless, it couldn't be. As we left the lawyer's office, Marcus slapped me on the shoulder, his tone light but laced with mockery. "Well sis, looks like you're officially part of the service industry now. Need any tips on pumping gas?" He chuckled at his own joke, Ethan joining in with a snort. Their laughter echoed behind me as I walked away, each step feeling heavier than the last. But little did they know, there was more to that gas station than met the eye. Much more. When I arrived at the property later that day, nostalgia hit me like a freight train. The faded sign above the entrance read Willow Creek Fuel and Diner in chipped red letters, its neon tubing long since burned out. Weeds sprouted through cracks in the asphalt parking lot, and one of the fuel pumps leaned precariously to the side, held up only by rusted bolts. Yet despite its dilapidated state, the place still felt alive with stories untold. I unlocked the creaky door and stepped inside, greeted by the familiar scent of stale coffee and motor oil. The diner counter stretched along one wall, its vinyl stools torn and patched haphazardly over the years. Behind it, shelves lined with dusty bottles of soda and snacks stood untouched, relics of a time when customers actually came here for more than just fuel. A jukebox sat in the corner, its colorful buttons dulled by decades of use, or perhaps neglect. Everything looked exactly as I remembered it, yet somehow smaller, sadder. My first order of business was to assess the damage. The electricity worked intermittently, the plumbing groaned like an old man waking up, and the roof leaked in 3 different spots. There was no way I could afford to fix all of this on my own, not without selling off pieces of my soul. And yet, as I wandered through the space, I couldn't shake the feeling that Dad wouldn't have given me this burden unless he believed I could handle it. Somewhere within these walls lay the key to making it work. That's when I noticed the trapdoor beneath the register. It had always been there, hidden discreetly under a worn rug, but I'd never paid much attention to it before. As kids, we joked that it led to a secret underground lair where Dad kept his treasure maps and pirate gold. Laughing off the absurdity, I knelt down and pried it open, revealing a narrow staircase descending into darkness. Heart pounding, I grabbed a flashlight from the supply closet and descended cautiously. The air grew cooler and mustier the further I went, until I reached a small dimly lit room. Shelves lined the walls, stacked high with boxes and files. At first glance it appeared to be nothing more than storage, old tax records, receipts and inventory logs, but then I spotted something unusual tucked away in the corner, a metal safe. It was old, its surface scratched and tarnished, but sturdy enough to withstand the test of time. No combination lock adorned its face, instead, a simple keypad glowed faintly in the low light. My pulse quickened as I examined it closer. Why would Dad hide a safe down here? What secrets could possibly be worth protecting? Before I could dwell too deeply on the implications, my phone buzzed in my pocket. It was a text from Marcus. Heard rumors about Willow Creek being rezoned for commercial development. Might want to sell before someone else buys it out from under you. My stomach churned. Of course they'd already started circling, waiting for me to fail so they could swoop in and claim what they thought rightfully belonged to them. But I wasn't ready to give up, not yet. Not until I uncovered whatever truth lay hidden in this forgotten basement. Over the next few days, I threw myself into cleaning and organizing the station. Every spare moment was spent scrubbing grime off countertops, patching leaks, and trying to breathe life back into the dying building. Neighbors passing by would stop occasionally to offer condolences or share fond memories of Dad, their kindness bolstering my resolve. One elderly woman even brought me a pie, insisting that a place like this deserves a second chance. Despite the progress, doubts gnawed at me constantly. Was I wasting my time chasing ghosts? Should I cut my losses and sell the property before it consumed every ounce of energy I had? Each night, I'd retreat to the basement, staring at the unyielding safe as if willing it to reveal its contents. Whatever was inside might hold the answers I desperately needed, but without the code, it remained stubbornly sealed. Then, one evening, inspiration struck. Digging through the piles of paperwork, I stumbled upon an envelope addressed to me in Dad's unmistakable scroll. My hands trembled as I opened it, revealing a single sheet of paper covered in his neat handwriting. At the top, written in bold capital letters, were the words, "For when you're ready to trust yourself." Beneath that cryptic phrase lay a series of numbers, August 14th, 72. My heart skipped a beat. Could this be the combination? August 14th, 1972, the day I was born. Tears pricked my eyes as realization dawned. This wasn't just a random set of digits, it was a message, a reminder that Dad had faith in me even when others didn't. With shaking fingers, I entered the code into the keypad. The mechanism clicked softly, and the door swung open. Inside, I found stacks of documents, photographs, and a small wooden box. Flipping through the papers, I discovered deeds, contracts, and blueprints, all tied to land surrounding the gas station. According to the files, Dad had quietly acquired acres of undeveloped property over the years, strategically positioning himself for future growth. The value? An estimated $20 million. Shock coursed through me as the magnitude of his plans sank in. He hadn't left me a failing business, he'd entrusted me with the foundation of an empire. But why hadn't he told anyone? Why keep such a monumental secret buried away? As I sifted through the contents of the safe, another question loomed larger. What would my brothers do if they found out? Would they try to take it from me, claiming it should have been split equally among us? Or worse, would they succeed? For now, the knowledge was mine alone, a fragile thread holding together the fragile dream of redemption. But secrets have a way of unraveling, especially when greed is involved. And as much as I wanted to believe I could protect what Dad had built, I knew the battle ahead wouldn't be easy. Weeks passed, and word spread quickly about the changes happening at Willow Creek. Fresh paint brightened the exterior, new signage replaced the old, and the diner reopened with a revamped menu featuring local ingredients. Customers trickled in slowly at first, curious about the transformation, but soon the place became a hub of activity once again. Regulars returned, bringing friends and family, and for the first time in years, the hum of conversation filled the air alongside the hiss of coffee brewing. Yet amidst the newfound success, tension simmered just below the surface. Marcus and Ethan began showing up unannounced, poking around the premises with thinly veiled curiosity. They asked pointed questions about finances, renovations, and whether I'd considered selling. Each visit left me feeling uneasy, as though they were searching for cracks in my armor, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. One afternoon, while restocking supplies in the diner, I overheard them talking outside. Pressing myself against the wall, I strained to catch their muffled voices. "She's hiding something," Marcus said, his tone sharp. "There's no way she's pulling this off on her own." "Agreed," Ethan replied. "But what? And why hasn't she mentioned anything?" Their suspicion confirmed my worst fears. Somehow, they suspected there was more to the gas station than met the eye, and they weren't going to stop until they uncovered the truth. For now, the safe remained securely locked, its secrets guarded by the same combination that symbolized Dad's unwavering belief in me. But how long could I keep it hidden? Every knock on the door, every casual inquiry from a neighbor, sent a jolt of paranoia coursing through my veins. Sleep eluded me, stolen by visions of my brothers discovering the safe and tearing apart everything Dad had worked so hard to build. Doubt crept in, whispering cruel lies. Maybe they were right. Maybe I wasn't strong enough to carry this weight alone. And then, one fateful morning, disaster struck. A fire broke out in the diner kitchen, sparked by faulty wiring that had gone unnoticed during renovations. Flames engulfed the space in minutes, smoke billowing into the sky as sirens wailed in the distance. Firefighters managed to contain the blaze before it spread to the rest of the building, but the damage was catastrophic. The diner was gutted, leaving behind charred ruins and shattered dreams. Standing amidst the wreckage, I felt the weight of failure pressing down on me. All the effort, all the hope, I'd lost it all in an instant. Worse still, Marcus and Ethan arrived shortly after the fire trucks departed, their expressions unreadable as they surveyed the destruction. "This is it," Marcus said finally, crossing his arms. "You can't keep doing this, pretending you're some kind of hero. Sell the land, walk away, and let us help you." His words cut deeper than the flames ever could. Help me? Or help themselves? Either way, I realized I couldn't fight this battle alone anymore. But who could I trust? In the days that followed, I retreated to the basement, seeking solace in the quiet sanctuary where Dad's legacy lived on. Among the documents in the safe, I found a letter addressed to both me and my brothers. With trembling hands, I unfolded it, bracing myself for what lay inside. To my children, it began, Dad's voice echoing across the years. "If you're reading this, it means you've discovered the truth about Willow Creek, and hopefully yourselves. Remember, wealth isn't measured in dollars or acres. It's measured in courage, integrity, and love." The letter went on, offering guidance and wisdom, urging us to come together rather than tear each other apart. By the time I finished reading, tears streamed down my face. Dad hadn't just left me a fortune, he'd given me a choice, to rise above bitterness and division, or let greed consume us all. But choosing the right path wouldn't be easy. Not with Marcus and Ethan watching my every move, waiting for me to falter. Not with the memory of the fire still fresh, a stark reminder of how fragile everything truly was. And not with the lingering question of whether I was strong enough to honor Dad's wishes, or if I'd crumble under the pressure. Only time would tell. The letter trembled in my hands as I read it again, each word etched with Dad's quiet wisdom. His voice felt so close, as if he were standing beside me, offering the same steady guidance he always had when life got messy. But this time, there was no hand to hold, no reassuring pat on the back, just the weight of his words and the enormity of what lay ahead. I folded the letter carefully and placed it back in the wooden box alongside the other documents. My mind raced, trying to piece together how I could possibly bridge the chasm between me and my brothers. They weren't just skeptical, they were hungry, for control, for answers, for a slice of the $20 million secret hidden beneath our feet. And now, with the diner reduced to ashes, their patience was wearing thin. When I emerged from the basement, Marcus and Ethan were waiting for me in the shadow of the gas station's broken sign. Their expressions were grim, their postures tense, like predators circling wounded prey. For a moment, we simply stared at one another, the silence heavy with unspoken accusations and simmering resentment. "So," Marcus finally broke the quiet, his voice sharp enough to cut glass. "What's your plan now? Another round of fixer-upper magic? Or are you finally ready to admit you're in over your head?" Ethan adjusted his glasses, his tone more measured but equally cutting. "Look, we're not here to gloat. We're family, whether you want to admit it or not. But this isn't sustainable. You can't keep pretending you've got everything under control." Their words stung, but they also ignited something deep within me, a flicker of defiance that refused to be extinguished. I squared my shoulders, meeting their gazes head-on. "You're right," I said evenly. "I can't do this alone. But neither can you." They exchanged a glance, confusion flickering across their faces. "What's that supposed to mean?" Marcus asked, narrowing his eyes. "It means," I continued, stepping closer, "that Dad didn't leave this place to me because he thought I'd succeed on my own. He left it to me because he believed I'd figure out how to bring us together, to make something real out of what he started." Marcus scoffed, crossing his arms. "Oh please. Don't try to paint this as some grand family reunion. This is about money, plain and simple. And if you think we're going to sit back while you play games—" "I found a letter," I interrupted, my voice firm despite the tremor threatening to betray me. "From Dad. To all of us." For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Then Marcus stepped forward, his hand extended. "Let me see it." I hesitated, gripping the letter tightly. Trust wasn't something I could afford to give lightly, not after everything, but Dad's words echoed in my mind: courage, integrity, and love. If I wanted to honor him, I had to take the first step, however terrifying it might be. I handed over the letter, watching as Marcus unfolded it and began to read aloud. His voice softened almost imperceptibly as he spoke Dad's words, the tension in his shoulders easing ever so slightly. When he finished, he passed the letter to Ethan without a word. Ethan's reaction was harder to gauge. His face remained impassive, though his fingers traced the edges of the page as if memorizing every detail. Finally, he looked up, his gaze meeting mine. He really thought we could work together, he murmured, sounding almost surprised. He did, I confirmed. But it's up to us to prove him right. The days that followed were fraught with uncertainty. While the fire had temporarily derailed my plans for the diner, it also forced me to confront the reality of my situation. I couldn't rebuild Willow Creek, or protect its secrets, without help. Reluctantly, I reached out to Marcus and Ethan, inviting them to join me in salvaging what remained of the property. At first, their involvement felt awkward and strained. Marcus insisted on taking charge of finances, poring over spreadsheets and muttering about maximizing assets. Ethan, ever the pragmatist, focused on logistics, coordinating repairs and negotiating with contractors. Meanwhile, I threw myself into restoring the heart of the place, the diner. It wasn't just a business, it was a symbol of resilience, a testament to the idea that even the most damaged things could be made whole again. As we worked side by side, old wounds began to surface. Arguments erupted over trivial matters: how much to spend on new equipment, which contractor to hire, whether to repaint the walls teal or mustard yellow. Each disagreement threatened to unravel the fragile truce we'd established, dredging up years of sibling rivalry and unresolved grievances. One particularly heated argument occurred during a late-night strategy session in the gas station office. Marcus slammed his fist on the table, scattering papers everywhere. "This is ridiculous. You're treating this like some kind of charity project instead of a business opportunity. And you're acting like it's just another investment portfolio." I shot back, my voice rising. Dad didn't build this place to turn a profit, he built it to create something meaningful. Meaningful doesn't pay the bills. Marcus snapped. "No, but it keeps people coming back," Ethan interjected unexpectedly, his calm tone cutting through the tension. "Think about it. The reason this place survived as long as it did wasn't because of cheap coffee or low gas prices. It was because of community. Because Dad cared about the people who walked through those doors." His words hung in the air, forcing us all to pause and reflect. For the first time, I saw a glimmer of understanding in Marcus's eyes, a softening around the edges of his stubbornness. Maybe, just maybe, we weren't as far apart as we seemed. Slowly but surely, progress began to take shape. The diner rose from the ashes, its interior redesigned with a modern twist while retaining the charm that made it special. Customers returned in droves, drawn not only by the promise of good food but by the story of renewal and perseverance. Word spread about the transformation, and soon Willow Creek became more than just a local landmark, it became a beacon of hope. But challenges still loomed on the horizon. Rumors of the surrounding land's value had leaked, attracting interest from developers eager to buy up the property for commercial use. Offers poured in, each one more lucrative than the last, tempting us to cash out and walk away. Marcus, predictably, was the most vocal advocate for selling, arguing that we'd be fools to pass up such an opportunity. "We could split the profits 3 ways and never have to worry about money again," he said during one particularly contentious meeting. "Why risk losing it all on some half-baked dream?" "Because it's not just about the money," I countered, frustration bubbling over. "Dad gave us a chance to build something lasting, to leave a legacy worth remembering. Is that really so hard to understand?" Ethan sat quietly throughout the exchange, his expression unreadable. When he finally spoke, his words carried a weight that silenced both Marcus and me. "Maybe it's not about choosing between dreams and dollars," he said slowly. "Maybe it's about finding a way to have both." His suggestion sparked a new line of thinking. What if we didn't have to choose? What if we could leverage the land's value without sacrificing the soul of Willow Creek? Ideas began to flow, mixed-use developments, partnerships with local businesses, initiatives to support the community. For the first time, we started working as a team, pooling our strengths and talents toward a shared vision. Yet even as we moved forward, shadows lingered at the edges of our success. Developers grew impatient, their offers turning into thinly veiled threats. Legal battles loomed, and whispers of sabotage circulated among the staff. Someone didn't want us to succeed, and I couldn't shake the feeling that danger was closer than any of us realized. Late one night, as I locked up the gas station, I noticed a figure lingering near the edge of the property. My heart raced as I approached, only to discover an envelope taped to the door. Inside was a single sheet of paper bearing a chilling message: sell now, or lose everything. Fear gripped me, but I refused to let it win. Whatever challenges lay ahead, I knew one thing for certain: Dad had entrusted me with more than just a gas station. He'd given me the tools to fight for what mattered, and the family to stand beside me while I did it. The battle was far from over, but for the first time, I felt ready to face it. Together. The note's threat hung over us like a storm cloud, but instead of dividing us, it galvanized my brothers and me. Marcus took charge of hiring security, his usual arrogance tempered by genuine concern. Ethan dove into legal research, determined to protect what we'd built. And I stood at the heart of it all, reminding them, and myself, of Dad's vision. One evening, as we gathered in the newly rebuilt diner, the hum of conversation filling the air, I looked around at the people who had become our second family. "This isn't just about us anymore," I said softly. "It's about everyone who believes in this place." Marcus nodded, uncharacteristically solemn. "Then let's make sure they don't lose that belief." Ethan smiled faintly. "Or their trust." Together, we unveiled a bold plan, a community-driven development project that honored Willow Creek's roots while embracing its future. The response was overwhelming. Locals rallied behind us, investors withdrew their threats, and even the developers backed off. In the end, it wasn't just Dad's legacy we saved, it was ours. As we stood side by side under the glowing neon sign, now repaired and shining brighter than ever, I realized something profound. Dad hadn't left me a gas station or a secret fortune. He'd given me the courage to fight for what mattered most. Family, community, love. And as the three of us shared a rare, unspoken moment of unity, I knew we'd finally done him proud.